So Tim, welcome back to the job placement and certified training program team. So this is your specifically the JPACT program. We will do a lot of projects and so on, but the focus right now is interview Q&A, questions and answers team. We want to take topic by topic, list down a few questions and try and learn together the essence of it and how do we um, how do we explain that to an interviewer in a very clear way. So how can we build our concepts, how can we fill any gaps that we have from very focused specific on your knowledge that you can present to your in your interviews team. So let's focus on this. We will start with a few topics and start covering every day. There's already a list of interview Q&A that we have done on a few. We will keep adding to this list. We'll also do some project work on the side. So that's the intent team for the next 2 weeks. Hopefully each chapter or topic we may take 2 to 3 sessions to complete it. And that's the idea there. Any questions or anything from anyone before we get started? There's not much that we're doing in terms of orientation on it. We can just get started with some question and answers now. Ramu, I'll make you back the presenter. Okay. And we can get started. Yeah, let us know if there are any questions, team. Hello, Sujata. Missed the last class of JPACT, Sujata, or QA? The crowd testing, manual testing. So this is the first class for JPACT and crowd testing. This is the first session. So I will send the recording after today's. Okay. All right. On to you, Ramu.
Okay. So hello team. So I picked up a few questions in the topic of Git and GitHub today. So we can go through them and try to find the answers. Right? So I just picked up very basic questions, right? So more from a tester's perspective, like how effectively we use Git GitHub to access our code and run our test suite. So I have about 20 questions, and we can start with the basic question, right? So what is a Git team? So could anybody tell me like what is a Git? How can you define it?
And team, please don't shy away from trying to take the opportunity to speak your answer. Right or wrong, we will ensure we correct it together. And we all agree to the right things towards the end of each question and we'll document it correctly. But your participation is important, team. If you don't know the answers, Ramu or I, we will work towards providing that. But if you got some basic idea, then you should take it up. Now Ramu has about 20 questions here, and it is okay to take up any of these 20 questions. Doesn't have to be in the specific order, but let's start with the most basic ones. I'm going to unmute all the audience members who have raised their hands. If anyone else would like to get unmuted, please let me know through raising your hand. What we will do is we can take answers and then go back on mute at your end. Yes, please.
GitHub is basically a repository for your code that everybody could have access to.
Mm-hmm.
It is a version control system. So it's a version control system. So it's a distributed one. So whether we can work on both local as well as the remote one. So the SVN one, like that is a centralized one. So this GitHub, it is a distributed one. So in SVN, like it's in a single centralized repository we will maintain. Here in GitHub, we have two different one. One is local, whether we can work on that, and we can merge together in the remote repository.
Okay. And
So,
team,
yeah,
yes,
sorry.
go ahead.
I want to say that GitHub, it is a code repository and also publish the repository.
Okay. And team, we are still on the first question, not the third one. So let's talk about what is Git first.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, you're right with GitHub. Source code management, version management, collaboration with other teams. We will have, local repository, remote repos, public, private repos. There's merge, there's branches, there's master, a lot of things. But what is Git?
Something you're getting it in a
No.
general. Yeah.
Uh, did you say something like getting?
Yeah.
No.
It is a open source project.
Yes, it is open source. There's no license fee
Yeah.
and so on. I think it's a free to use
It is a
software,
distributed version control system.
distributed version control system. Okay. Can we do a quick Google search on what is Git, Ramu, on your end?
Yeah, sure.
And I also want you to please take notes as the members are answering, please,
Yeah,
onto the
yeah.
Google Doc.
Sure. So I think what Rishikesh conveyed is correct. I think the first point is Git is a distributed version control system. I think this is the exact answer. So, getting to the speak. Let me pick something else. Yeah, right. So
Then
Git is a
I want to ask
yeah.
about, yes, go ahead, Ramu. Sorry. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
you
so,
have
so
it.
basically it is a distributed version control system team. So wherein we can save our code and access it from anywhere.
So can we talk about what is version control system? Anyone wants to explain before we talk about distributed?
Any source code that's been changed. For example, if I take my code
Uh-huh.
one file, I make some changes to it. I have to version it to make sure that the traceability is easy to track.
Perfect. That's a very good answer. Yes. So you basically are tracking your changes as different versions over a period of time. And anytime your code changes, you have new versions coming out. So why should we do version management then, team? If
Version
I have a
management, I
new
think it's more
version,
of a updated repository, because in the past we used to give like manual version control numbers. I think it's like automated right now with
let us say I'm building an application. It's not just about manual and automated also, but let us say I'm building an application. I've started with version alpha, beta, version 1. Now I'm at version 10. Why should I have to look back at version 9 or older ones?
to see what are the changes that are being deployed, what were the reason for you to rechange or refactor your code.
Very
It's like,
nice.
say example, if there is any error, like we had to like go back to the existing version. So for that one, we need that version controlling. I mean, versions.
Yes, good. Both are perfect answers for it. So primarily it leaves like a historical snapshot of your application. And anytime we face a challenge, we can go back to the previous working one and start working with it. Also because from version 8 or 9, I can make different branches and make different products out of them. And they all can be individually maintained. So there are a few things that help us there. Very good.
So what is the purpose of doing the branching of version 8 or 9 with the product
Sure.
perspective. Would you be able to expand on that, please?
Yeah, sure. So one of the easiest ways to understand for this is called A/B testing. Okay. So what happens in A/B testing is we release two versions of the same application into the market. One as version A, one as version B. Small changes, maybe just a color, or maybe just how the feature or button appears in the page and so on. And try and collect data or feedback from the customers as to what they liked more, A or B. And in the next version, I'll pick one of A or B to follow and keep going deeper from. Second way of looking at it is, let us say that we are writing a book, and in that book I'm the main writer, but there are also editors or people who review my book. So as I complete each chapter, my editors or reviewers who go through my content will take that as a branch and make changes on it. It will not affect my main book yet. They will keep doing an experimental activity on that application or code or book. And at a later point, I may wish to take some of those features and merge it with my main product. So it is like taking almost an offshoot from the main master activity, doing some changes differently, experimenting, playing around. Maybe some other contributors are focused working on it. And then we can try and bring it back for everyone else to use once we agree on it. So it gives us a lot of options of, selecting which features we want to put, how, getting each person to work in a different way altogether. So that's what branches will do. And then we can merge the branches or use the branches as they are. Did I
Thank
make
you.
any sense? It was so
Yes.
much English, I think.
You're fine.
All right.
Thank you.
Who else? Yeah, thank you, Sujata. All right, let's go with the next questions then. Ramu, how to know if Git has been installed in your machine, team?
In command prompt, like we can like git hyphen hyphen version, so we can.
How? Let's open command prompt. Okay, yeah. So what do I do? Git space hyphen version, is it?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
double hyphen or single hyphen, I guess. Double hyphen version.
Double
space
iPhone.
hyphen hyphen. Mhm.
Yeah.
What if I
Using the
just say Git?
I don't think it returns anything. Yes. Oh, it does.
It'll return all the what options I have to run along with Git. So that basically tells me that yes, the latest Git as a software is installed. And team, please make sure that we give, though in the projects we'll use GitHub and so on, have a lot of access to Git commands, please. Okay. I want you to have this fluency of understanding the Git commands. Cool. So that's good. Now, what is GitHub?
It is one hosting platform for this version controlling system. I mean distributor.
Or which version controlling system?
I mean for
Distributed
code.
version control.
Yes, but which one? So there like things like VSS is there, source code is there, Git is there.
For Git.
For Git, correct. Any more answers? Why are the others muted?
No, I just have the same thing to tell, so I'm just thinking what else could be.
I'm actually trying to think of an example in real world to put, but I'm still waiting for answers. What is GitHub?
Uh, it is basically like, I mean, for the Git one, like it's a hosted platform which is using that one functionality. I mean, it's for the distributed version control, or we are using GitHub. It is one of the platform where we are using that one.
To add on, just to make it's a hub where you keep the codes and also publish the codes.
Don't we do that same with Git? What is GitLab?
Where you write your code.
It's a separate, like how like a GitHub, it's a separate one. Like basically both are using the Git functionality. Like I mean, it's a hosted system, different vendor kind of thing.
Hmm. So Git is basically a version control software team. Remember that. Git is nothing but a software, a piece of software that helps you to check in your code and maintain a version history in it. GitHub is a private solution. Git is a free open source software that we all can use for source code management. GitHub is a private software as a solution that helps us to host on the web or on the cloud all our content of whatever is there in Git, our entire source code structure. So from there, I'm able to perform all the Git commands with a better web UI rather than using command prompts. I'm able to check in my code to a remote repository, and I'm able to collaborate with other project contributors who can log in to GitHub and be able to download, access, and work on these projects. Correct? And
Yeah.
GitLab is a competitor to GitHub. It's another company. Bitbucket is something again like that. So each of this still use the same SCM at the back end and so on, but basically they're service providers. So GitHub has a free version, but it also has a lot of paid features for project collaborators with more corporate clients. Make sense, everyone? So how do we say? It's like, if you could be an engine manufacturer, you could manufacture the right engine for a car, but that could be used by anyone. So for example, if you look at a Ferrari car, it uses Ferrari engine. If you go to a Maserati, it still will use a Ferrari engine. So the engine is the same. What I'm building over it and how I use it could be different. GitHub is taken Git, implemented it as a workable solution for end users. Okay. Did I answer something for all of your team? Ramu, and can you increase the font to 150% on this Google Drive? Zoom it.
Okay. Yeah.
Hit. All right. Now, Ramu, back to you. Let's go on with the other questions.
So, how can we create a repository in GitHub? If we want to answer, maybe I can open my GitHub repository. So can anybody tell me how can you create a repository?
I vaguely remember the steps. So
Okay, so I mean, looking at this page, where do you think I can create a repository?
Can you scroll down there? There's an option called the repository, right? So click on that one, and there'll be option to create, right? Scroll up
Yeah,
in the
Where?
repository option.
I am in the repository.
Yeah.
So where do I create it?
I think you
Okay.
need to click on
I
the
think
plus sign, right?
That's correct. Plus sign on the top right corner.
Yeah. So and create a new repository.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I was just looking for this answer. So you can use a
And give
plus
a
sign
name.
and
Yeah.
Right.
And we want to give it a name and make it public where everybody accesses it, or private, depends on our call.
So yeah. So yeah, this was the answer I was looking for. Yeah. You have to click on the plus symbol and create a new repository. So,
Excuse me.
And can someone tell me the difference between public and private repository, please?
Public,
the
everybody can access it. Private, it's only with the access levels you give it to the users. I think no, private is for individual use, I guess.
For public, everyone can see the code. For the private one, like it's have I mean limited access. Those who which we are giving only they can able to see it.
Right. And actually go back to GitHub. It's so clearly written there when we're creating. See, there are two things. It is not just read, but also write. In general, remember CRUD, C-R-U-D, which is related with anything to do with a data or a database, which is create, read, update, or delete. 4 operations that we perform on any data record. Now, when we're saying public, the R or read is open for all. Anyone can read it, download it, and use it. But if they have to update it, which is called committing, they can commit, but only we as an admin can accept those changes. When it comes to private, it is protected to specific people, where you can seeing and committing both. So mention on the commit as well, please. It's not just who can see the code, but who can commit or change the code or project.
So Karthik, for public, so by default, are we giving crude access for it? Like you said,
No,
create,
we're
read,
not.
update.
No,
So they only have
we're
commit,
only giving read access.
read access, and they only have the privilege called commit to it then.
They have an option to commit, but it will come to sit in my queue for me to accept that commit and merge it into my master.
So commit is an acknowledgement saying that they are approving a code. So that's what it means. So commit in the
So
database
let's say
is
you
like
and
you're saving the
uh,
changes, like, you know.
okay, okay. Yes. So saving your changes, correct. The same thing applies here, where a user X is the admin, created. User Y has taken a branch, made some changes and proposed. Now user X gets to choose if they want to commit Y's code or not into the main master. But user Y can continue to do from that version whatever they want, but it may not get mixed with the main repository, merged with the
Unless
main
he approves
repository,
it. Okay.
unless the admin approves it.
So is it something like the branching concept that you told on the very question one, I'm guessing, where you
That
said
is
multiple products could be developed, it could be branched off in order to take customers' inputs or peers' inputs and see if
correct,
they're viable to coordinate it.
perfectly correct. Very well put.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. All right. What is the default branch name, team?
Default branch name now it is main, previously master.
Shall we check in GitHub once?
yeah.
So we're creating a repo, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Created, or I can go to my
Okay.
let me go to
Let's
any.
see. Do you see that, team? These are the Git command. Let's go there, Ramu. Back.
Yeah.
Okay. So when there is no code or no files in your repository, this is what we will see as your starting page, correct? Now, these are the Git commands of how we can merge some code or whatever we want to do from our command lines. So get more comfortable with these commands, everyone. You have to discuss in on these commands also at length once. But here you can see there is one command in between called git branch -m main. Okay. So before that, git commit -m, that's basically a commit message that we put. So, and we're saying that this is the first commit. So where, oh, okay. Ramu, where do we see that branch? Should we add a file first?
Yeah, do we add a file? So if I go back to any other, I think it should be the
No,
main.
why go back? No, that's okay.
Okay,
Ramu, stay here. We'll just add a file.
file. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, creating a new file. I'll just say sample.txt or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Put some details, data. Okay. Now scroll down. So here's where we're committing, and we're saying this is our first commit, whatever we're adding to the project. So you can add multiple files to it and so on. So commit, please. Okay, so that's the file now that has come in. Now, do you see that box called main? Click on
Yeah,
it.
Katya.
Yeah, so that's our default branch. That was the master branch that we used to call, and that becomes your default one. Now, the next to it is the branch. Do you see one branch? There's always by default one branch next to main, above, 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 to the right
Okay.
of it.
Right.
Click on that, please. So here it is. Now go to Insights, Ramu, on top. Yeah. Come to Network on the left. So here it will show you the exact branching, what happens through the commit. So as you keep adding, it will show you as a graph how the branches are created. So this will be interesting to explore as well, team. Give me a second, everyone. Ramu, can you continue, please?
Yeah. So let me write on this answer. Okay. Right. So I think we already saw this. Okay. Okay, team. So what is the purpose of branching in Git? So I think we are already discussing this, right, team? So I mean, do anybody want to kind of rephrase that? Like, why should we branch in Git? How does it help us?
If you want to work on a code in a separate feature, so but we don't want to like do it in the main branch, so we will go for that branching one. So we don't want to uh, disturb the main functionality, so uh, we will create a new branch and we will work on it, and finally we will merge it.
Oh, exactly. I think that is rightly said. So basically, if there is a new functionality, right, that we need to develop, but and we don't want to, the main code to be impacted. So I can take a copy of that main code and then update or add my new changes in this branch. So test it completely, and once it's working, then we can push it back to the main branch. That is the reason. One, feature, application. Okay, so where will we? Right. So what else? branching. Okay, team. So I think GitHub. Let me Google this thing. GitHub. I wanted a proper definition for GitHub. So let me. GitHub. Right. So, okay, GitHub is a website and cloud-based service that helps developers store and manage their code as well as track and control changes to their code. Right. So it is more of a website and cloud-based service. I think probably that would be the right way to put it. Let me check in another site as well. Okay, GitHub is a file or code sharing service to collaborate with different people. Okay. Okay, so I can say it is a cloud of, okay. Let me put it this way. For cloud-based service or basis where we can access or code. I think that is the best definition we could find, right? So yeah. All right, team. So I think we covered that, and default is the main branch. Okay. And so what is the difference between a local and a remote repository? I think you guys should be knowing this, right?
The local one, it's in
Yeah,
our
so for
system,
the
and
local repository, it's on the computer on the team members, whereas for the remote, it's normally accessible with the internet or the the local network within the corporate.
Right, no, I'm talking about like what is the difference? Like what is the difference between a repository and a local and a remote repository? Like how can it differ?
in the local repository, like the file whatever change, it will be happen to you. In the remote repository, whatever push it, it will be accessible to all the members.
Uh, uh, right, I think yeah, I mean, you're right. So basically, local repository is specific to my machine, right? So whatever code I'm working on, right, I'm creating a repository in my local which stays in my machine. And if say the other my peers, peer testers or developers, if they want to access the same code, then I will have to push that to the remote repository. So let me look for the exact definition. I think I might be having here remote repository. Okay. But then it's just yeah, what you said is correct. So as a local repository, right, as it says, it resides on the computers of the team members, whereas the remote repository hosted on a server that is accessible for all team members. Right. I think that is the way. So this would be the right answer. Most likely on the internet. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So any code that I work on my just in my local computer, I create a local repository, and it stays specific to my machine alone. And once I check into the connect to the remote repository and push that code to that remote machine, I mean remote service, anybody will be able to access it over the GitHub portal. Okay. Okay. Explain what is a public and private repository. Didn't we already see this? I thought we saw this. We were discussing this, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. I think I returned on the answer as well. Okay. Okay, team. I think this is a good question, right? So whoever works in Git will somewhere see this issue or like conflict, you will get this message. So what is a conflict in Git?
Say example, when the two persons are working on the same file, so they make a changes on a single line. So whenever they try to merge it, like we will get this issue.
Exactly, right. There's a conflict in saving the code. So it is the same code base that two people have made some changes, and both are trying to make the push the change, right? So and then Git throws an error. There's a conflict, wherein the same piece of code, both people are trying to update and check in. Okay, so if I need a proper definition, let me see. Written down some of them. Do I have a conflict? Yeah. Okay, so let me write this down and see if it makes sense. It can handle on its own just by using automatic merging features. Okay. There arises a conflict when two separate branches are made edits to the same line in a file, or when a file has been deleted in one branch but edited in other. Conflicts are most likely to happen when working in a team environment. Okay, so I think this makes sense, right? So I'll just put this one. Right, so when we have two different branches and we are making edits in the same line or file, and then so when you try to do the check-in or commit, you will receive a conflict error. Right. Okay. What else? What is the difference between a Git pull and Git push? Okay, this is also a very important question.
Pull means like we will just get that from the remote repository to the local one. Push means from local to remote, we will do that.
So sorry, can you repeat that again, Rishikesh?
Git pull means like we will get the code from the remote repository to the local repository one. Git push means whatever the changes which we made in the local, we will just send to the remote one. So
Exactly. Yeah, right. So basically, I have my local code and the remote code. So when I pull down, or more like a download, right? So from the server, I'm downloading the code to my local. That will be Git pull, and push will be something like an upload, right? So all my changes in my local, I'm pushing it to the remote repository. So again, if I need a proper definition, Git pull, and I think there could be a couple of minor points as well. Let's see that. This is a Git Fetch, right? Git Pull downloads as well as merges the data from a repository into your local working files, right? So that is what we discussed. And I think let me add Git push merges from the local repository into the remote repository. Okay. Again, in similar fashion, like what is the difference between a fork and a clone?
fork we
Anyone?
will do for the in the GitHub. Say example in the remote, if you wanted to retrieve from some other repository to remote repository to remote, we will use fork. Clone means like from a remote repository to local repository.
Not really. So it is basically taking a copy of the repository. That part you are correct, but I don't think they are pushing it to the local repository, right? So basically, both are creating a replica of your repository. But there is some minute difference. So let's try to see that. I'm not sure as well. So let's see if I have an answer. Do I have a Git _? Yeah, let me copy this. Okay, let's try to understand this. When you fork a repository, you create a copy of the original repository. Okay, but the repository mentioned in GitHub account. Whereas when you clone a repository, okay, sorry, Rishika, I think you are right. Right, yeah. So I think when you fork or clone, a copy is made basically, but the difference being the fork, the copy is being made only in the GitHub account only. It is not created in your local. Whereas I think clone creates a copy and push it to a local machine basically. Right. So the copy is being created in the local machine, whereas forkit keeps it in the GitHub server itself. Okay. Right.
Let me
What is
explain on that once again. Anyone else wants to expand on that answer? Fork and clone. Team. Okay, so look at this way. I'm X. I have a public repository in GitHub. If Y forks my repository from github.com/x/repository, it'll go to github.com/y/my project name, which got forked from X into my public repository. It is now completely there in my GitHub account. So you got that? You took a copy of it. You're not working on that same repository anymore. So you have your version of it. So then you can later collaborate if you want. But as of now, it becomes an independent version altogether. All right. Yeah, sorry, Ramu. Go on, please.
no problem. Yeah, thank you. What is the command to save changes in the GitHub repository? I think we even saw this as well, right?
Ramu,
So is that
sorry to
Git
interrupt.
one or
Yeah,
Go
correct.
ahead, please. Go ahead,
so?
Rishikesh.
If it is a Git one, it's like a Git add and the file name, we will save it. So that is will save in the staging area.
Right. So I think let me edit this. Right. So if I want to commit, right? So basically, right. So since it's a portal, we don't have to use it, but I think in local we use the commit command, right? So, but basically, I just need to create give the file name or add some comments and then click on the commit changes. So that is the step I was looking for. Right. Okay. Okay. Again, as an extension of that question, right? So how can you add a message or change the changes? So before yeah, go ahead.
Here we will here in this one option we will give that I mean the description we will add that one commit whatever, but normally in Git I mean in local version it's like Git commit -m and in the brackets we will write like whatever the commit message or using Git commit and open the notepad or whatever the default editor and we can write it and we can save it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, sure. So this is the in the command prompt, like when you try to commit. Okay. Okay. What is the difference between Git fetch and a Git pull?
Git pull means from the remote repository we will get whatever the latest, I mean it's a complete whatever the changes it will be changes I mean downloaded to our local repository. Git fetch just it will check what is the changes and it will say okay these are the file changes only, just it will say the status of the difference between the I mean the remote as well as the local. Pull means it will download the files itself.
Okay, let me check. I'm not entirely sure as well. Copy this. It download. So basically, Git fetch downloads only the new data from the remote repository and does not integrate any of the download data into your files. So it's a view of the data at all. Git pull downloads as well as merges the data, right? So I think this is what you are also referring to, right? Okay. So basically,
Yeah, but I think it is downloaded but not merging. Yeah.
merging, yeah. Whereas Git pull does the merge as well for me. Okay. How can we remove a repository from GitHub? Like, what is the command, or like, how do you think we can remove a repository from GitHub?
For
they want
branch,
to.
normally in Git, it is Git branch minus D, the branch name. But here, I think I'm not.
Okay, so let me go to the test repo. Let's try to go to maybe settings. Somewhere I should have an option to delete. Yeah. So once you go inside the repository settings, you should have this delete repository. This last for the password, and once you give the password and accept it, I think it should delete.
Okay.
Okay. How to remove a file from Git? I think this is more from the command prompt perspective. So what is a command?
We can use Git rm, the file name.
Right, exactly. So Git rm file name. How to remove a file from Git without removing it from your system. What about this thing? I want to remove from the Git without from my system.
Actually, I think Git rm. One second. This one.
It could be Git rm, but maybe there's an additional property. Let me see if I have written it down somewhere.
Actually, normally we
Right.
have to Git. We can use Git or like rm. Also, we can use rm means it will remove everything, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess this is the correct name. So you just use Git rm -even cached.
Okay. Okay. Cached.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this won't remove from the system. Okay. And any idea what does a Git status do, team?
Git status means whatever the changes which we made after the last commit, it will show whether it's in staging area or in the working area, whatever.
Okay. Is the latest status of my code commit. Okay. And how can I see the commit history? Maybe this is more from the
Git
yeah.
log.
So let me go back to my repository. So where do you say I can see it? Commit history.
No, I'm gonna use Git only, not GitHub. They're in the
Okay.
commit, I guess.
Okay. So I think we have a history tab. Let me go to the application again. Let me take something else and change it to this. There should be an option to see the history. I'm just trying to locate it. History.
I think in the main one only, like that commit. I think we only have one node. So if we have more,
Okay, security. Yeah, there will be an option to see the history. Where do I see history?
can you just click on the one commit? I think here it's only one commit is there, I guess.
Right. I think that is the recent thing. So basically, this should give me a list of all the commits that were done. So this is the history page here. Okay. So commit history.
I think it is asking for Git, I guess. So it will be Git commit, sorry, Git log to see the commit history.
Oh, I see. It is. Is there a command git log? Is it log?
Yeah,
This is
Git log.
right. So how do I revert a commit? Right.
It is like hard revert means it is Git revert minus minus hard, I guess. Normal means normal changes means it's Git check out the file name for normal one if it is in the staging area, I guess. So
How do I revert commit? So is there a command? I'm just trying to see what is the correct command.
it is a Git revert.
Git, okay, yeah, git revert. Yeah, I think it is either git reset or I think git revert is the correct one. yes, Tim. I think those were the questions I had. Anything else anyone wants to share? Anything, something you have not covered here?
We can have git bisect command,
Okay, what
git
does it do?
rebase. I mean, it will show the where that original I mean that much the conflict where that actually that initial issue rises occurs. It will tell us.
Right, right. All right. That's it from my end, Tim. I think we are done. Karthik, anything else? I think we covered all the questions.
No, that's good, Ramu. Yeah, it's already a little
Sure.
past the time too. Did we almost finish all the questions that we wanted to do for GitHub?
Yeah, yeah. Whatever
Let me
I
just
had
scroll
created.
down all the way.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. If we come across more, we'll add to it.
yeah.
What did we plan for tomorrow?
Nothing so far, Karthik. Uh, maybe I was wondering if she should involve team in any like project activity or something. So I think we can discuss offline.
Yeah, we'll complete at least 2 more interview rounds,
Okay,
sessions.
sure.
Then we'll start with the project too.
Okay,
See, it's
yeah.
very simple. For the project team, it is really something that we would love to have you involved. It's very easy for Ramu and I to sit down if we get time and complete a lot of those project activities. But then when we have to spend time with you to explain, walk you through what it is, we also want to see some good deliverables coming out. Okay, so let's go through this. We'll start with the project and then you can involve as well in that. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you back
Thank
So
you.
tomorrow
Karthik,
then.
this is Sujata. I have a question. Is the Monday recording being uploaded?
We didn't have any session this week. Today was
So
the
there was,
first session.
or really from last week?
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Karthik. I wasn't well, so just wanted to reconfirm. Thank you.
No problem. I'll put this in YouTube and also on the website.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good day.
You too.
Yeah,
Bye all.
thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Ram.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye everyone. Bye team. Thanks all.